Chaos in the chicken coop. The city is subject to attack by a creature. Is there any hope left? Salvation? A huge three-headed monster with hands on its back is walking on the street, destroying the city and trampling people, and people at one time ask and shout for help. Emergency evacuation. A mystical demon has appeared. Evacuate immediately. A mother runs down the street with a child named Yuki falls to the ground. The monster picked up a child crying with fear, who was calling for help from his mother and was about to swallow him, but something pushed the child aside. The monster with a surprised face looked away, and a sound came from the roof of the house. Listen to everyone. I won't let you continue this senseless slaughter. I will destroy it, said a hard, muscular, strong cock. The cockerel at this time bounces straight to the monster. An indecisive cockfight. It starts right now. This is a story about a cockerel who saves humanity. A year ago. A view of the sky with stars and the city, the courtyard of the house in which cackling sounds can be heard. The intercourse of two chickens is shown, the sun rises in the sky, and the chickens are sitting in their nest. Here the main character gets up with a serious face, and his beloved asks where he goes, to which the rooster responds. Roosters like me belong to a migratory species, and this calm atmosphere is not for me at all, so I'm leaving. To the sorrowful words of his beloved, the main character left without any despair, saying that it was just the mating season, nothing like that, and it wasn't about her at all. Now the rooster is walking along the street, the roads of the city, apparently in finding food for himself, he finds a bug. After shooting a stone at him, the bug falls down, and the cock eats it, saying that its taste is fragrant, and the aroma leaves a bitterness on the tongue, and they also contribute to the improvement of the stool. At this time, the rooster performs emptying. Then he looked around the corner of the street, seeing the children playing. He began to think to himself how much he hates them, because they are tactless, selfish and very loud creatures. But the children did not pass by the rooster, and running up to him began to think about how cute he was, and suddenly he got lost. The little girl offered the rooster a chicken from KFC, to which he thought sarcastically that she was mocking him. The boys nearby took the rooster by the neck saying, "Caught." The girl on the side said to let the rooster go because it hurts him, to which the boy told her to fuck off and added that he wanted to feed the rooster to his cat. At this time, the rooster abruptly broke out of the boy's hands and began to run away, while the children shouted after him, "Stop! Stop running away, you stupid bird. Catch them if you can, you dumbasses. These fucking kids don't give up," thought the rooster, running away from the children. Looking to the side, he saw his grandfather watering the beds and ran into his yard. The children ran up to their grandfather and began to say that it was their chicken, and grandfather at one time looked at the rooster and realized by his nod in different directions with his head that it was not their rooster. He said it was funny because it was his cock. "Come on, cockerel. I told you not to leave the garden." Apologizing to the children, he said that he would try not to let the rooster run away anymore. Offended and confused children went home. Grandpa smiled and looked at the rooster. At that moment the rooster mentally thanked him. The children with serious faces walked back and wondered if it was true that this rooster was an old man's rooster. "Sorry kid, that's all I have." A rooster with a face filled with complete calmness abruptly and immediately started eating this treat with the thoughts that this is undoubtedly a royal treat. Grandpa was pleased that the rooster likes the food. "Ho ho ho. I see you like it. It pleases." There is an awkward silence, a wave of memories. The kind grandfather began to tell that his wife used to feed sparrows here. He was sad to tell about it and to remember because she is no longer alive, but how great it would be if he could spend time with her. Grandfather has memories of her look and the sight of her feeding sparrows, from which a smile fell off his face. Abruptly, he gives out that he bored the rooster with his story. He did not know why he felt confidence in him, even though he was just a rooster. The rooster at one time looked at his grandfather with such a facial expression, as if he himself had lived this story. Suddenly, a loud sound comes from the next block, as if something has broken or collapsed. Grandpa has a surprised face from fright. People were running down the next street from something or someone, fleeing for their lives. At the same time houses were collapsing, cars were flying in the air, all the asphalt was as if punched, and houses were crumpled into splinters. People ran to meet Grandpa and the rooster with the words, "Monster." And abruptly, in front of them, a huge hand with claws wraps around the whole house, and subsequently a monster with a huge head comes out, in whose ears are hands, teeth with huge fangs, and glasses are on the eyes in which rage is visible. Grandpa is full of fear, and the rooster thought to himself, a demonic beast. At the same moment, those same boys were running from this beast. The rooster, looking at them, thought only that these are the most inadequate. One of them stumbled, which is why Grandpa decided to run up to them and help. The monster at this time shouted only one thing, kill everyone. Running up to the children, the grandfather shielded the child with himself, even though he himself is very afraid. The rooster, seeing that the grandfather was trying to protect the children, rushed to his defense. At the moment when the monster decided to attack the rooster like lightning and a firecracker flew in front of his claw, the monster with a side glance saw the rooster standing in a rack on his paws. The children and grandfather were shocked. The huge creature only made them angry. The words of the rooster at this moment were such a freak. Do you have any idea what you're doing to these helpless people? My face, the last thing you'll see before you die. Escape from the chicken coop. The cockerel collided with a hardworking demon. What kind of power does he have? The demon only aspired to the rooster. The grandfather and the children looked at him with surprised looks. The cock said, piece of shit. What are you doing with the old man and the suckers? Come and taste my scallop. The monster talked about destroying the cockerel. The main character was shown memories where some monster devours his sister, begging for help. The rooster closed his eyes to bring the sad spirit to cruelty and said, scoundrel. You're finished. The monster swung at the rooster as if it would just crush him right now, kill him. The monster, without even having time to blink an eye, saw a rooster rapidly moving to the roof of the house. During the swing of his hand, he transferred the entire blow to the roof where the rooster was. The rooster, at one time, flew off the roof of the house into a monster with a distracting maneuver at great speed. The grandfather and the children standing on the sidelines only thought how amazing the cock looked and performed tricks. He flew over the monster as if from several sides at once, while the monster clumsily tried to pin him down. The rooster appeared on his head, a second later the horn, and then slipped through his glasses near the eye into which the rooster made fire. Screaming in pain, the monster covered his eyes with his hands. Agr. The cock stood up in a cool pose and thought, and now, the finale. He inflated his belly to a huge size, as if he took an air, and now eat it. And it sounded like a siren to the whole street, and even to the whole city. Grandpa and the children covered their ears, the windows on the houses cracked from such ultrasound, the veins on the monster's head began to swell, turning into huge blisters, and soon burst altogether. The monster shattered into pieces just fell to the ground. Grandfather and children stood in complete shock and stuttered discussing that this phenomenon, a phenomenon called resonance, when the frequency of the voice coincides with the frequency of the object, then this phenomenon happens and is called resonance. When someone breaks a glass with just a voice. Grandfather's thoughts were extremely confused. What kind of cockerel was this, which had enough resonance to tear a creature of this size? Is it such a destructive force? He looked at him with surprised eyes, while the cockerel stood confidently with a huge breastbone among the fog and dust from the ground. Sweat was streaming from his forehead, and his face was full of incomprehension. Damn it. The cockerel climbed onto the monster lying and no longer alive, turned his collar away and looked with such eyes as if indifference had disappeared from them. In his mind, a picture was erected of the monster that killed his sister, standing with his back to him man as if walking away. There was a mark on his neck that the rooster remembered. The rooster was silent for a couple of seconds and thought that it was not the monster because there was no mark on the monster he killed. The boys said how terrible it all looks and that Grandpa's garden was not well. The rooster poked Grandpa's leg with a mop. Grandpa asked, "Are you going to clean everything up?" To which the rooster replied, "Co." Seemed to agree with Grandpa. After that, they began to clean everything up a little bit and together. The boy asks his grandfather if there are any more packages, to which his grandfather replies that there are many more. After cleaning up all the garbage and bags, they took the waste to the trash, up to huge glasses with relief saying, "Phew, finally." The boy said, "You're not a simple cockerel, are you? But hey, after killing Kidju and even helped clean up." After that, everyone looked in the direction where the cockerel was standing, but when they saw his absence, they wondered where he had gone. Grandfather looked into the distance, thinking about one thing, the cockerel. Already on the way to the city, the cockerel is clacking his paws stomping in some direction with the thoughts that he is a wandering migratory bird and that it's time to say goodbye to the city. Grandfather. I paid you for lunch, and then I defeated the demon, the rooster thought, stomping on. The bird does not litter its nest before leaving. Tidied up the garden. The bird came to the place where his beloved was, and apparently having made a lesson from the situation with his grandfather, he began to think that it was a disgrace to leave a woman in tears. Because no one can measure the value of women's tears. Entering the chicken coop, the rooster saw his beloved, who is having sex with another rooster. Having made conclusions, with a face full of disappointment and possibly pain, he left with an important and proud gait that another city was waiting for him. Homesick, a bird rests on a branch. The cockerel went to the same place where all the cute animals gather. Lions, monkeys, an elephant, it's all like a zoo. A little girl looks at the animals and notices a cockerel, telling her brother about it. My brother replied that it was just another southern bird. But for some reason he has a very dissatisfied look. Get it? Peanut bombs. The brother threw peanuts in the direction of the rooster, while the rooster caught every peanut that the rooster threw with speed, which made a huge impression on the brother. But not suspecting anything, the rooster began to shoot peanuts at his brother, which he also caught. My brother fell from this, and my sister began to help him. Brother. The rooster was just thinking how much I hate children. I can't believe they're allowed to move freely and do whatever they want. Having gone away from the observers, the rooster saw frolicking southern birds in the water, and he only thought how disgusting it was that the birds were just fooling around because he constantly walks side by side with death, and this carefree world causes him only vomiting. Little birds come up to him and ask him to play with him, but seeing that they are children, he clicks with discontent and says that they should look for someone else. For this, the birds threw him into the water and started splashing water at him laughing, but they did not laugh for long because they saw that the rooster began to choke and ask for help. The birds began to apologize to him, and after catching his breath, the rooster said, "Remember well, this style is called a cackling fit," speaking with an angry and not satisfied look. The birds looked at him with bewilderment and said, "But didn't he call for help? Hey you." A sound came from the side. There was a pelican standing there who scolded them for fooling around, and why shouldn't they go entertain the visitors at least a little, calling them impudent little ones. The birds shouted only mockingly with mockery, so that the old pelican had already died and was silent after him. A zoo worker was passing by the birds and saw a rooster, but thinking that this was nonsense and even in a million years a rooster could not appear here. The pelican apologized to the wanderer as he called the rooster, but somehow he was glad that he was getting better. "It's all thanks to your care, Elder Xena," said the rooster. 3 days earlier. It's raining outside, it's sparkling. Birds nearby noticed a rooster lying on the road. All wet, tired and already exhausted, and they began to call old Zen for help. A pack of birds led by an old man put the rooster in a secluded place where even zoo workers will not find him according to Pelican Zen, but for now, rest, said the old man. In the memories of the rooster, it was that at that moment he felt the presence of Kidju somewhere nearby and was patrolling the streets. The pelican asked if there were any chronic diseases in the rooster, to which the rooster remained silent for a couple of seconds and with discomfort told the old man that it was all because of the eaten hairy caterpillar. The rooster's stomach rumbles, to which the pelican says, "Oh no, you haven't eaten anything for 3 whole days." He presented him with Brazilian grasshoppers, a rather rare delicacy. "It's not often you meet such food." The rooster said nothing, with a calm face said that this was beyond saving his life, he would not be able to accept something so valuable. He will just accept their feelings. The pelican looked at him from such a. There were thoughts of a rooster during this, old Zen's thoughts were only about what a problem rooster boy was. The rooster began to ask the pelican if he was from Brazil, to which the pelican replied, "Of course." The story begins with a pelican, how in his own country he and his family looked at the rising sun shining on the surface of the Amazon, it was beautiful. The rooster, treating the pelican with understanding, because he also had a sister. He started asking when the old man Zeno arrived in Japan, to which he answered about 20 years ago. He was about 18 years old. At first, it was difficult for the pelican, he was placed in a small cage, and every day he had to appear in front of visitors. One day he realized that all those who were looking at him, they were all smiling. At that moment, the pelican was happy, and he realized what happiness was, his eyes were sparkling. The rooster, with strangeness and lack of understanding, began to ask if people were infuriating him, to which the pelican replied, "Oh ho ho, most likely it would be a lie if I said that they didn't infuriate me at all." The pelican remembers everything that was connected with birds. Each of us supports and inspires each other. A closed circle that met happiness and sorrow together. Nothing can replace them for me, they are my beloved family, and home is where your heart is. And now in this place they are very close to him. During the wise speech of the old man Zen, the rooster listened very attentively, as if he carried the whole story through himself, when suddenly, people are alarmed, running somewhere and shouting, "Ah! Aviaries with monkeys, penguins began to collapse. Zoo worker, the same girl was looking into the distance, Kidju. Again this time the monster looked different. Huge 4 legs with claws, a long body, 6 arms as if he were a stick insect, and pronounced there is no place for me at home. I'll kill you all. He was heading to the aviary, where all the birds were, when he saw the rooster through the window, he thought. As I thought, he showed up. This is the same Kidju that the rooster smelled earlier. The pelican was in fear, wondering what the hell was going on. Swinging his long arm, the monster struck at the glass through which there was an aviary with birds. All the birds rushed to fly up in order to save their lives, and at one time the head of the whole pelican family, an old man, belligerently flew into the monster's face, attacking his left side of the face with the words, "Stop it." Old man Xena inflicted many blows on the monster, telling him to get behind them because this is his beloved family and that he would never let him touch her. The monster with the greatest ease of his hand threw the old man away. He flew down, wheezing in pain. The monster began to strike with his 6 hands at the aviary where the birds were. "If they are so dear to you, I will destroy them all. Ha ha ha. That's what you need, that's what you need." The monster spoke to himself, chuckling. Then the main character, our rooster, flies out, who, with the speed of lightning, makes a blow to the monster's forehead, landing on the ground, stands up in a rack, and the monster, wheezing from a little pain, rubs his forehead. "Come on, you vile scoundrel," the rooster said with a menacing look. "Huh, chicken? You're such a little thing, you're not a hindrance to me, you idiot," Kidju said, swinging at him with 3 hands. "What were you thinking? And now? I'll crush you." And hit the ground. The rooster ran off to the side, climbing up his arm and hanging in the air at the level with his face. "You destroy what the elder Xena is ready to give his life for. I'm furious about it. Get it?" The rooster struck with great fury with the so-called Kidju resonance, from which blisters on his head came out and began to burst. From this, Kidju fell to the ground and died. All the birds stood in shock and misunderstanding, asking what it was, while others looked with sadness and grief at Strict Zen, who said in a monotonous and weak voice, "Is everything all right?" The rooster began to calm the old man, saying that everything was fine and everyone was safe. The old man Xena, with a dying look, began to ask the rooster how he could thank him because he saved everyone. The younger birds began to apologize to the old man for the terrible things they said to him, begging him not to die. The old man said a farewell phrase, "Oho. Oho. A trio of disobedient guys? You 3 will become beautiful birds. Because I'll be looking out for you from the other side." With a tear in his eyes, in the screams of his comrades. "Old man Xena. Old man Xena, don't die. Old Xenia." And with the last moment of his life, old man Xena remembered his sisters, Lona and Elena, who wanted to show him a beautiful lake. "I wish I could do it again. Watch the sunset with you." Closing his eyes, having already shed a tear, the old man Xena died. All the birds bowed their heads and shouted in mourning. The old man Xenia, the rooster, stood aside, thinking through himself, "The old man Xena, now you have returned to your native home." Biting off his pen, he put it next to him. "I promise, one day I will tell your sisters about it. Your older brother lived a decent life in Japan and died happy." The rooster was about to leave, but he was stopped by a murmur in his stomach. "Is it because of those grasshoppers?" He fell to the ground and the birds ran up to him and started asking if he was all right, to which he replied, "Sorry guys, it looks like I'll stay for a couple more days at this time." There was a silhouette of an old man in the sky. "Zen. Is this my parting gift?" He spoke with a kind face. The bird in the ocean, the barrel, is peacefully swaying on the calm sea waves. And, of course, he's inside. A view of the ocean with some kind of peninsula, rocks, and barrels are floating among these stones, and a rooster is sitting in one of them. Abruptly, some diver who collects sea urchins and shells in a barrel will get out of the water. "Akan, ocean," he said. "A flock of fish swim under the water. One of the fish is boring me. Do you want to take a nap?" says the other. Abruptly, all the fish, alarmed, swam with great speed, saying that they were finished and the one-eyed god had come for them. They needed to go faster. It looks like something like a dark-colored turtle. This creature swam out, looking out of the water to the shore. Sea swimmers who collected sea urchins and shells under the water treated the rooster with one hedgehog and went from the shore, but what to do with the rooster? One of them said. The other said that he had been sitting here for 2 or 3 days. The rooster looked at the delicacy, like, what kind of strange creature is this? Well, let's try it. After tasting it, he was stunned by the taste. What is this taste? This is 100 times better than worms, 100 times better than dung beetles. I am so glad that I was able to taste this delicacy," said the rooster with a tear in his eyes from delight. Abruptly, this meal is interrupted by a one-eyed turtle with a cut on his eye, saying that this rooster has forgotten on his territory, and if he does not want to die, let him fail. The rooster said he would stay. Meanwhile, the turtle was surprised that he was not bothered by the threat from him. The rooster didn't know if it would help him, but he's just young. There was a dialogue between the rooster and the turtle about where to get sea urchins. At this time, the rooster looked at the turtle and without any fear asked where to get them. The turtle had thoughts at this time, what was wrong with this guy, and why he just took and asked where to get sea urchins. After warning him one more time, he said that this was his last straw, and if the rooster didn't leave right away, he would finish him off. The rooster stood his ground. "I want sea urchins. Maybe we should go after them already?" The one-eyed turtle was in a huge rage, accelerating with great speed into the rooster. She wanted to crush him, but the rooster was not easy and dodged the blow. The rooster looked at the turtle in surprise, saying that it was not a bad acceleration for the old turtle, and now he had attracted his attention, and that it was time to go after the sea urchins. In response to this nonsense, the turtle accelerated again to give a blow to the rooster, to which the rooster showed his abilities and abruptly dodged like a bullet from all the stones that flew off the stone, crashing into him. Turtle. The rooster attacked the turtle with the same stones, and the old turtle thought, "What was it? Are you kidding me?" The turtle jumped on the rooster to swing its fin at the rooster. He masterfully slapped the turtle's face, climbing on its shell and jumping aside. Both of them accelerated to a high speed and collided with their foreheads and crashed into each other, and a terrible battle began. After a while they stood on the sides and catching their breath, the turtle saw something in the rooster's leg. It was a fishhook. Heck. His leg. The turtle thought. Don't tell me he's been there all this time. The turtle approached the rooster with great calmness to remove the hook from his leg. Phew, done. The rooster apologized to the turtle, to which the turtle said that he was a pathetic and dirty bird, so he also succumbed. The rooster said that if they were underwater, he would have lost, and the turtle just grunted with a smile. There was a minute of silence. The rooster decided to ask why the turtle hates birds so much, and the turtle began the story. You know, turtles. They are born in the sand. And when we get out of the eggs, we desperately run towards the sea, and that time when I was running for my life and saw what happened ahead. A bunch of seagulls eating all my brothers mercilessly. I'll never forget it. I saw hell the day I was born. I managed to escape. I swore revenge. I knew that they would return to that place. I had been preparing for 3 years. 3 years later, when the moment came, the turtle took revenge on the birds for his brothers, killing them just like they killed his brothers.